And here's one thing. I started with nothing. I'm not afraid to go back to that. I mean, I for my family's sake, I started with nothing. So betting on myself, what am I going to lose?
Welcome to another episode of the True Life Network podcast. I'm your host, Mike Ashabi, and today I got a special treat for you guys. Today's guest is a 20-year-old from Long Island, New York, and has an Instagram following of 1.4 million followers. After signing with a local manager, he began getting jobs in print, TV, movies, and started his career off spending the summer of 2017 on tour with the Boys of Summer, as well as the Digi Tour, and was considered one of the most famous teenagers in the world. He's a big New York Knicks fan and attends most of their home and away games. He has worked with the NBA and currently is big into cryptocurrency and NFTs. Ladies and gentlemen, today I bring to you the one and only JJ Hannon.
Glad to be here. How
JJ, I appreciate you joining us today.
I'm glad to be here.
It took a little while to get you on the podcast, bro.
It did take, it did. It really did.
So, bro, before we actually started this podcast, you were talking to me about a car crash that you had, right? Before we jump into your story and everything that we're going to get into in this podcast, talk to me about that. What happened with the Land Rover Discovery, you crashing into a store? Talk to me about that experience and what exactly happened.
So, one of the biggest things I'm against is drinking and driving. I do not drink and drive, and I actually wasn't drinking. I was at a bar, and I would never ever want to even get pulled over because you know how cops won't wait outside a bar. So I said, you know what? It makes more sense, my friend to come and pick me up. So I let him go to my house and pick up my car. He picks up my car, and he comes back, okay? And his excuse was, it's my friend Henny. So that's the first problem. I let my friend Henny.
Was he drinking Henny?
No, he wasn't drinking. His name is Henny, though. I let him drive the car, and rather than going forward, he went backwards. And we're in the back of the car, all right? And I looked to the left, and I looked to the left, I looked to the right, and I said, are we in a store right now? And he said, yeah, my bad, bro. That's all he said. He said, yeah, my bad, bro. Looking back, I can't. I really can't. Luckily, nobody was injured. The store ended up being okay. I mean, the store, it's still boarded up till this day. I drove by it recently. So, yeah.
Was that like your first lesson not to drink and drive? Like your first actual lesson?
Well, no one was drinking. That was the problem. I say to myself, what if someone actually was? I wasn't, though.
I know he wasn't probably.
I say I wasn't drinking. I had one beer. Okay. So I said to myself, okay.
That's what they all say, one beer.
No, I really, okay. Either way, I made the right decision, never driving and drinking. And when I made the right decision, someone else who wasn't drinking got into an accident. I said, how is that even possible? So that's what happened there. That was not fun. I'll show you a picture.
Which we're going to show on the podcast, by the way.
Picture. That was not fun. I was definitely... And I did learn a big lesson from that. I learned a very big lesson from that. One, I don't go out at all as much. Two...
I'm right there with you.
I don't let anybody drive my cars anymore. Anybody. I don't care who it is.
Does your girlfriend drive your car?
She has never driven any of my cars.
All right, so he's actually true to his word, because even when I say that,
I told her she could. She could if she really wants to. If she really wants to, we'll see though.
I'm a little weird about that stuff too. Trust me. I'm like nobody.
I wasn't at all. I wasn't that person at all. Anybody. It didn't matter. If you're my friend and you need something, you need to borrow the car, go. Now, never. Especially with me in it. I don't even get. I have problems getting in Ubers now because of this.
Really? All right, well, there you guys have it. But JJ, you know what I want to talk to you about today is ultimately, so you started off at a young age, right? Yeah. You started building a platform. You started getting recognition. You've been on TV shows, movies. You're a performer, right? You sing. I want to understand what actually allowed you to get into this lifestyle and start building a platform where you have right now, where you have 1.4 million followers on Instagram.
All right. So I was 13, 14 years old, all right? And Musically, an app called Musically came around, and I saw a lot of people with a similar look to me jumping on there that weren't even singing. These people weren't even singing. They were doing the dancing thing. I said, all right, let me check this out. So I went on there and I started posting videos. They started hitting really fast, really, really fast. I mean, overnight. And then I got my Instagram popping. I got this popping. I got that one. I had this opportunity with that person. I got to go to LA for the first time. I mean, I'm from New York, and most of my friends never left New York. So the fact I went from New York, and then I moved to Florida when I was 13, 14 to live with my grandparents and my mom. And then that was around the time I started growing, and I got asked to join a tour at 15 years old. That was my first tour.
So what was your gig on tour?
I was singing, and I was actually second to closing. So it was the act of all of so people that are watching this, the tours I was on, similar to MagCon, it would be a meet and greet convention. The creator or the person they're a fan of gets to meet them. So I was on the Digi tour, I was on Boys of Summer, and then after those, I was able to have my own tour without having any support acts. Well, my own support acts. I mean,
You were
brought in.
financially backing everything?
At a time I had a label, a branch of Sony that I was working with, so they were backing everything as we spoke about that. Yeah.
Okay. So apparently you got a voice, right?
Yeah, I do.
I'm putting you on the spot, bro. Come on,
I haven't, bro.
Give us a little something.
I really haven't sing.
I mean, bro, you got it. When you got it, you got it, right?
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. That's all
He's
you're
trying.
getting today.
He's trying.
That's all you're getting today.
All right. So talk to me about this transition. Basically going from working on the Digi tour and working with the Boys of Summer to ultimately where you are right now.
Mm-hmm.
What were the things that really gave you this platform that allowed you to go out there and promote? I know that you're also a big sneaker advocate, but what allowed you to promote the platform that you have today?
Okay, so there's, honest as always, the truth was going back to being myself. And I'm still that kid from New York that when he was 11 years old would be running around, the block looking for shoes, looking to, find a way to get a $200 to go wait online for a pair of sneakers. So when I got those first checks, I said, word, I'm going to go get a pair of shoes. Word, I'm going to go get my friend a pair of shoes. That was one thing I learned. I was getting a lot of my friends' pair of shoes. I get mostly myself now. I haven't been collecting as much as I used to, and we talked about this because I really am not happy with the way some of these brands have went right now. I think it's a simulation, a lot of these releases, and I'm waiting for something really good to come out. I mean, there was a point, I would say, even in the last 2 years, I would get every release, nice, bad, just to say I got it. And that was not something I probably should have done. I should have just gotten stuff I really wanted. And that was definitely something I look back and say, maybe I should have just gotten stuff I wanted.
Was there something about having a certain collection and certain shoes?
Oh, yeah. So back in the place, in New York, I always wanted these shoes. And I would always have some shoes, maybe a used pair of shoes, or I'd have, an older pair of Jordans, not the new line, or foam posits when those were in. Dunks weren't really in then at the time.
Oh, bro, Dunks are in today, though.
Dunks are in today, yeah. I love my Dunks.
You gotta love you a fresh pair of Dunks.
I almost wore a pair of Dunks. I wore the Supreme Air Force Ones today. Back to what I was saying. So to all the kids that would, make fun of me for having, because they all had, because the town I'm from in New York, it's Merrick. It's an amazing town. I love Merrick. And there are some wealthy kids there, and then there's also some kids that aren't wealthy at all. There's North Merrick, and then there's South Merrick, and then there's people that are wealthy or not wealthy in both sides. It's an interesting place, and a lot of my friends had crazy sneaker collections. I said, how do they afford this? And I didn't have my father around, so I couldn't. My mother was just working. My mother worked a job, and I had an older brother as well, and we didn't have a car either. So sneakers wasn't the first thing on the agenda always. So I said, when I get that first check, I would look up at this at the, the room and the ceiling, yeah, and I would say, when I get that first check, I'm gonna get a pair of sneakers, and that's exactly what I did.
So what did you do to get that first check?
The first check I got was some of my tour checks. Those were pretty. Those first tour checks.
What were those
pretty.
looking like, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm trying to think. So, the place I really made my money was merchandise.
Okay.
Those merchandise hoodies. I had these Team
Your
Hannon
own
hoodies.
merchandise?
My own merchandise.
Okay.
So my tour checks there'd be a high per diem, or they take, because you got to traveling, every city, that's expensive, especially, and it was also to get my name out there. It wasn't just to make money. The merchandise, I got really lucky. So my mom came in and said, "All right, we're gonna do some merchandise. We're gonna get that going." So for a little bit there before I got with a big company. It was homegrown, and I made a lot of money off that. I was making a few grand every week almost off that. That
And
was
at
fun.
what age?
At 15, I was hustling though. That's the thing. I was hustling though. I was so I would be sure to. I was plugging it. I was really plugging it, and I think that's a big thing. Sometimes people are afraid to plug it. I have friends that say, "Yo, how can I make money? How can I do this?" And I say, "Can I sell some of your marketing services for your marketing business or something?" And I say, "Sure." They're afraid to get out there and sell it. And I say, how you gonna, you have to be ready to hustle.
100%, 100%. So what was that thing that like really inspired you to really just go ahead and say, you know what, screw what everybody else is saying, right? Here's the thing: a lot of people are seeking external validation. They just want to do it for the flashy stuff, for basically nothing but themselves. So what made you realize, hey, you know what? Screw everybody else. This is for me. This is the career. This is the lifestyle that I want to have, and I'm gonna do everything possible to make it happen.
Well, from a young age in my family, I was always, I don't even, in my area, family, close friends, I was the chosen one. They always said, this one's gonna be the one that helps us. This kid is gonna, change our lives. And I looked in my mother's eyes and I said that something has to change. I got to do something. I gotta, I'm not gonna allow this to happen. My family needs to be taken care of. So at any extent, I want to take care of my family and make sure that they're all right and they're taken care of. I would rather have nothing if it meant my family had something, and that's very important to me.
100%.
So I would say that was definitely driven to me. I drowned out what anyone else had to think or say. I had a lot of support though. I had a lot of support, so I'm not gonna say I didn't. Anyone who didn't think I could be capable of it, I drowned out and said, "All right, I'm gonna ball out. I'm gonna do this for my family."
How important do you think that support factor was? Because I think that there's a lot of people out there that they want to do something, but they don't have that support, or at least that one person that's saying, "Hey, you know what? I believe in you. I back you all the way. Whatever you decide to do." I think that's a huge component of what allows people to be successful.
My grandfather, my mother's father, my father, he wasn't always around, unfortunately. When he was around, he was very supportive of me. My mother, always making sure I got to places on time, anything, always. I really say that played a big factor. And if it wasn't for them, I don't think I'd be in the place I am today, especially my mother. Yeah.
How
Shout
much
out
do you
to
think
her.
your mom contributed to your own, self-belief and, just, will to do it for yourself?
I remember with athletes, I would always, after a game, she would always say, "Oh, you're better than the other kid's best player." And I knew I wasn't better. She would always tell me that to make me feel better, though. And I was there. I was right there with that other player. I just wasn't as good as him. And she made me believe that I was. And it got to a point that I actually ended up being better because my mother installed that in me. She put that inside of me to say, okay, my mother thinks I'm better, so I have to be better. You know what I mean?
What's your mom's name?
Rory.
We're gonna give a huge shout out to Rory over here
She's in the
because
building today.
this kid's 20 right now and he's doing it up. Like at the end of the day, I think that a lot of parents are very negative. So the fact that you have a positive mindset in mom and somebody who's instilling a lot of self-belief and courage in you to go out there and be yourself and put yourself out on the line, I think that's huge because not many people have that. Everybody's conformed by society. And a lot of people are draining based off of what society standards think that they should be rather than, hey, you know what? I'm going to be what I think I should be. So huge props to your mom, who's actually sitting back there at the back of the studio. So huge shout out to her. So talk to me a little bit about this whole Knicks thing, right? I know that you're a huge Knicks fan, right? You're at every game, almost every game, whether it's home or away.
Yep.
Talk to me about how you even got engaged in that whole situation.
Oh, I'm from New York.
New York, baby.
I mean, it's Knicks or nothing for me. I mean, I love the Knicks. Unfortunately, a lot of stuff has gone on in the organization, that make it hard. That really do make it hard. I'm still that little boy that was, my father took me to a Knicks game.
Is that the thing that sparked the whole thing with the Knicks?
I loved the Knicks before then, and I remember on my birthday, or it was a late birthday present or something. My father took me to a Knicks game, and I'll never forget that. That was the best experience.
How old were you?
I was probably 11, watching Carmelo Anthony play, watching
you got to see the great Melo Anthony.
Yeah, I mean that was definitely the first time I went to a basketball game, and ever since then, and we weren't sitting up front the way I am now. We were back there. Either way, I loved it. I got to meet. Whenever before the game, I went down for autographs. I met some cool players. That definitely. Shout out to Iman Shumpert. I remember back then, I messaged him that day on Instagram. I said, "Hey, Iman, I'm gonna be great one day, the same as you," and he answered me right away. And that fueled me for.
Was that before
2
you
years.
had a platform?
That was before anything. That fueled me. That
it was on social media.
Yeah, I sent him a message because I think he signed something for me, and he answered.
Think that's honestly huge though, because a lot of these players, or anybody who's in the light, doesn't really go ahead and take the time to engage with their fans or their audience and whatnot. So I think that's a huge component. If you have that, one or two people that actually respond back, it brings more.
It fueled me.
What's the word I'm looking for? It brings more confidence in yourself, saying, hey, you know what? He actually took the time to recognize me. You know what? I'm gonna go out there and live it out myself.
Yep, that's exactly what it was.
So how did you go from being a fan to now? I know you're engaged with a lot of the players on the team, right? You're basically sitting courtside with everybody now. What was that transitioning point? Where did you go from?
I know this guy. I love him. He's family to me, Joakim Noah, and he was able to introduce me to a lot of people, and I always, I'm thankful for that. Another friend of mine, Dennis Smith Jr. He used to be on the Knicks. He's a close friend of mine, and he's able to plug me in with other people if I need to be plugged in. And I think.
What do you mean by plugged in?
Plugged in means you get to work with them. You get to, I originally came at a lot of these NBA people being a sneaker plug. Now I help them with NFT.
Them up with sneakers?
Hook them up with sneakers because I could find size 16, 17 sneakers. For instance, Joakim yesterday, I brought him a pair of Yeezys size 17. That's not easy. These sneaker plugs out here, they can find you a rare pair of Dunks, a rare pair of Jordans, a rare pair of, something designer. They can't find you size 17 sneakers. I can do that. I have ways of getting them. And that's very important to these players. That's why they always come back to me, because they can't find someone else with this size. And I also, to build relationships, I would just hook them up. I'd say, here you go. Don't worry about it. Take it. I don't care. And I'd rather have a relationship than just bill someone money or something. That's not for me.
Bro, I'm going to stop you right there. And I think that's honestly the key to making it in life. Right there, what you just said, the whole relationship factor. So I don't know how much you know about me. Obviously, I was able to get you on the podcast today, which I'm grateful for, you taking the time to do so.
I'm grateful to be here, brother.
But honestly, I think that, what you're doing is branding yourself, which means that there's business involved, right? And I think the core fundamental thing that you need to focus on when building a business is relationships. I always tell everybody, stop chasing the money and start chasing being a person of value, and the money will come.
Of course.
Right? And that means you focusing on the relationship, showing people that you could provide value into their life and see how you can mutually benefit from being in contact, right? So that factor that you figured that out at a young age, I applaud you, bro. Like, honestly, like, no joke. The fact that you can go ahead and build those relationships and show that you can actually do something for somebody else where, most people can't do for them is a huge component of what's going to be, allowing you to succeed in life.
So what's going to benefit me more? An NBA star's connection for the rest of my life till I'm 80 years old, or $200?
Ladies and gentlemen, JJ Hannon, come on. Give it up for him, because at the end of the day, 20 years old, he figured this out. I think that most people are just after the money, and I tell everybody when you're running after the money, you're running after it.
It runs faster than you.
Yeah, the money's gonna run itself, So huge shout out to you, bro, for that. So you have this relationship with the Knicks now, and I know that relationships is a big thing in your life, right? I want to jump into your story about your personal relationships, kind of figure out, where you started out, whether it's girlfriends and friends and things like that, to where you are now. And I want to understand how that's shaped you into the person that you are today.
Yep. All right. So around COVID time, I did have a girlfriend for a long time, and yeah, she was someone in my life for a very long time. Unfortunately, for not unfortunately, happy for both of us. We are in different places. I have a girlfriend that I'm with that I really, I love and I care about, and I'm not exactly sure what she's up to. I hope she's doing well, though. I hope she's doing awesome. I've got no bad feelings. We're young. When you're 18, 19. I met her at 18. She was 18 as well. So, you just kind of grow apart. And I think with love, there gets, a barrier. Sometimes you do something, out of anger, or, you say something you don't mean. And when you love someone, that's not how it should be. So yeah, that's basically, I've learned that lesson at a young age too. I've also learned, and I think that the reason my new relationship is working so well and I'm so happy is, you learn from the things you did wrong, or the things that you didn't say, or the things you should have said. So, yeah, that's definitely something I keep in mind now.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we got a 20-year-old ladies man here. All right. In your opinion, JJ, what's the definition of love?
The definition of love. Okay. The definition of love for me would be two things. The first thing, sitting courtside watching the Knicks win a championship.
All right, all right.
That would be love. You get that from me, and I'll be in love.
So if he ever invites you to a Knicks game, that means he's in love with you.
Yeah.
Man or lady.
Jump. Yeah, I took my that was my first day with my girlfriend. I took her to the Knicks game.
Okay.
That was fun. We had a great time there. Definition of love for me would be when you really you're so consumed by somebody, and you can't stop thinking about them, at any point of the day. Love is self-sacrifice also. You say to yourself, okay, I'm going to do this to make sure that, the person I love is okay. Not being selfish. I think the definition of love as well for me is, that feeling you get when you're a little boy, when you meet your preschool crush. When you have that when you're an adult, that's when, to me, is when you feel you're in love. You know what I mean? That it's just everything that person does makes you so happy.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna throw a little twist at you, all right?
Okay.
So this is actually a Will Smith thing. I don't know how big you are on Will Smith's
I love
content.
Will Smith, yeah.
He has great freaking content. So shout out to Will Smith for this. He says that love is spelled L-U-V. So what he means by that is, ultimately, in order to love somebody, you have to be able to take the time to really listen to what they're saying, right? In order to truly connect and understand, right? L is listen, U is understand, and then be able to respond accordingly to what they're saying in order to validate them. I think that the huge component here is time, right? Because it takes time for you to utilize active listening, really take the time to really get where that person's coming from. Now, it's okay if you have opposing views, right? But taking the time to truly understand and respect that other individual and show them, hey, you know what? I might have this view, you have this view, but I respect you and I understand it. So how has active listening played a role into your relationships? I'm curious to
First relationship, didn't listen at all. I would be just.
I can second that.
I'd be listening. I really wasn't listening. I learn now. If something is said to me, to listen, and if I don't have the answer to that question, get the answer to that question, and get the answer fast, rather than putting. One thing I don't do anymore is I don't put anything off. I don't say we'll talk about this tomorrow. We're either talking about it today, or we are not talking about it tomorrow.
Huge. I feel like a lot of people, when they're in an argument or something like that, they're just like, you know what, leave me alone. I'm the type.
No, I don't want to be left alone. We either talking about this, or it's not happening.
You can ask my wife. I'm exactly like that.
Yep, and I'll even say if if it's mentioned to me the next day, I told you yesterday, if you want to speak about this,
it's now. It's now or never.
So your time expired to speak about this. Now, all jokes aside, I learned definitely to cue in and listen and find the answer to fix the problem.
So talk to me about your current relationship. Where'd you guys meet? Ultimately, what's your goal with this relationship?
My current goal is just be happy and make sure that she's happy as well, and that's really it.
What does that mean to you, though?
Happiness for me is making sure that the person's being taken care of. I'm doing my thing, and they're motivating me to do better in life, and I'm motivating her to be better in life. And I think with all the heartbreak I've had in life, and maybe she's had
But
heartbreak
you're
as
young.
well.
You haven't had that much heartbreak. I mean, I'm not here to say
The
that you
biggest
have.
heartbreak for me was losing my father.
Okay.
And that was a heartbreak for me, and I think that affected me in my first breakup as well. So that both of those things weren't fun. I'd say it's just being happy, not going back, going forward, and there's obviously things I want, goals I have, things such as that. Besides that, just being happy, taking care of my family, and smiling. At the end of the day, if I can go to sleep with a smile, I'm good.
So I always tell everybody that the prerequisite to any kind of relationship that you have, whether it's actually intimate relationships or actual like a friend relationship, there's two prerequisites. One is inspiration, and two, support. Because that support, I think, is a huge factor, because not many people are going to be there when you're on the come up, right? Not many people are actually going to be cheering you on. They might say it to your face, but behind the scenes, they're talking shit because they're jealous, right? So how, in your opinion, does your relationship allow you to feel inspired, and also feel the support from your partner to go out there and say, you know what, I'm putting it all out on the line. I'm gonna do, what I set out to do, and not distract you from that outside noise.
I would say I've learned this channeling what that one person is saying, and distracting other people, because that's the person who loves you. Channeling that in and saying, okay, I'm going to listen to that person. That person said, get back out there and do this. So I'm going to get back out there and do it. And also you want that person you love. It could be your girlfriend, or it could be your family member. I want to make my family proud. I don't want to be someone who peaked at 22. I want to be doing this till I'm 40. I want to be doing it till I want to be, and there's no reason why I can't. There's absolutely no reason why I can't. There's no reason why I can't. I'm one of the youngest now, so why can't it's all about primes too. I haven't reached my prime yet. My prime is what, 20? Would you say 25, 28, in there, maybe even higher?
Or it could be higher.
It could be higher. So that's what I'm saying. So I want to, when that prime does come, I'm ready to I'm ready to take it. Right now I'm young. I'm a young buck. I'm learning, and every single day is a new journey.
100%. The thing about intimate relationships, to me at least, I think that it really takes that one person to see something in you that you don't even see yourself, right? I think that having somebody who's just, hey, you're in your own position, right? I support it, but not only that, I'm going to push you to be greater in that. And like, for example, me and my wife, she sees things about me that I can't even see, and she'll bring it to my attention. I think that's a huge component of what it really takes to be successful, because they always say, you want to go quick, go alone. You want to go far, go together. And it takes that one special person, whether it's a family member or actual intimate relationship. I think it really takes that one person, because, at the end of the day, I didn't have that great of a relationship with my family. I love them, but I always felt like an outcast. I think that's another thing that kind of propelled me to take consistent action, to do whatever it takes to get the lifestyle I have right now, which I'm nowhere near where I want to be, right? But I think that it takes that one person to realize something within you to kind of help you keep pushing forward. Because if you have people in your life that are just draining and soul sucking negativity around you, right? How far do you think you can actually get with all those roadblocks, right? So I want to understand, from your previous relationship to your current relationship, how's that really enabled you to go out there and just be like, you know what, I'm gonna continue doing me, and I'm gonna be the greatest at what I do.
I definitely think that I learned from mistakes in the past. I definitely feel that my past relationship.
And if you want me to give you an example so you can
Yeah.
elaborate on this question,
Yeah.
this is a deep question. All
Yeah.
right. If you want,
Give me an example, please.
All right. So my first relationship, bro, if you looked at me 7 years ago, I had long hair, pierced nose, baggy clothes, skater, snowboard kid, doing drugs left and right, right? I was living with this girl, in Vermont. because I was a snowboard kid. I
My
was trying to go
photographer's from Vermont. I love
Bro.
Vermont.
Burlington, represent. I grew up going to Vermont snowboarding and whatnot. I was actually supposed to go pro snowboarding. I lost my opportunity because of the depression I was in because of my last relationship. But that's all besides the point. The last relationship, I was putting everything out on the line. I wasn't actually doing it for myself, and I didn't feel that, anything that I was doing was reciprocated. Like, I was on $20 allowance from my parents at the time, a day, $20 a day. I would literally save that $20, go to the store, get all the food. I went vegan for 8 months while we were living together.
Really?
Yeah. Put food in front of her face to the point where I would go to sleep hungry sometimes, right?
I know that feeling.
This relationship that I'm currently in, I feel like I actually have that support that, hey, you know what? When you're down, I got you. Like, it's like a missing piece compared to my last relationship. My last relationship was like, even though this part's falling on me, I'm responsible to go ahead and fill it and, do what I got to do, which is true to a certain extent. But having that one person, bro, my current wife, right now, which, by the way, I didn't mean current wife. I've only had one wife.
Word?
She gonna murder me. I'm joking. But
What you do on your spare time, my brother, is not my business.
she helped me build myself. No joke. I met her on the train in New York City 2 years ago.
Most magical place in the world.
Exactly. And, I met her at a point where I was still recovering from my last relationship. I was still trying to figure out what was going on. And we met on the train. True story. I thought she was taking a picture of me. And I was like, I literally turned to her when I woke up. I was like, did you just take a picture of me? She's like, what the fuck is wrong with you? I wasn't taking a picture. He's like, I mean, come on, all this right here. I know you want to take a picture. But
I have an answer to your question, by the way.
Okay.
I just thought about it.
Okay. You want to hit me?
You say one person, okay? I can't rely on one person because there's only one. I want to rely on God and I want to rely on myself. And if I can't rely on myself, there's no way that I'm going to be able to help another person's life or be there for another person. And I love the Lord. I love God. If His plan is for me to be with one specific person, that is the person I'm going to be with. And I'm a believer that the story has already been pre-written for me. And, obviously people have their different opinions on that, and that's fine.
You're on some David Goggins shit right now.
For me, the story has already been written, and I'm just living in it. That doesn't mean you don't go out there and work hard every day. No. It doesn't mean that you don't put in the effort and put the hours in the gym, put the hours in, if you're an artist in the studio. That doesn't mean that. It just means that there is a story that's been pre-written. And I also think that if you don't love yourself, how are you going to love somebody else? If I can give anything.
Someone drop a bomb real quick.
About my previous relationship is I don't think I was loving myself at the time. So forget about anything to do with her. Myself. I wasn't loving myself. I wasn't happy with the person I was looking at in the mirror. I felt that I could be greater. And that's what I did. I leveled up. And I leveled up myself. Not going to get another girl, not going to, anything, no amount of money, no amount of contract, nothing.
Are you sure you're 20 years old?
I try.
Bro, I love your mindset. You're speaking straight truth right now.
I appreciate that.
And I think that most people, even like 40, 50 years old, haven't figured out what you figured out.
I've been through a bit. I've been through quite a bit, actually. So
I'm actually directly in line with what you're saying too. But I also think that having that support system really allows you to push that extra mile, right? But I think that's huge what you're saying, because it's really about that relationship that you have with yourself. If you have a really good relationship with yourself, it's going to put you in a position that you can have a relationship with someone else.
Yeah.
So, which is going to lead me into this question. I hope you're prepared for it. What's your perception? What's your definition of self-love?
Okay. When I wake up in the morning, I want to look in the mirror and say, I love this guy. It doesn't have to be the way you look. Everyone looks different. I love this guy inside and out. I love something I was always self-conscious about is with hooping. I'm a lot shorter. I'm a lot shorter than these guys. I found a way to be crafty. I found a way to, make my own shot, make my own mark. And that's something that I learned to love about myself. I learned I'm not going to be some tall center, obviously. What I can do is I worked on a floater, and my floater is ridiculous. It's unguardable. NBA players will tell you it's insane. And me personally, they think they can guard it. They really think they can guard it. When we'll play some highlights if we have to. If we really have to.
All right, send them over. I mean, we might have a game after this. So
You don't want to do that.
hey, bro, don't get me wrong. In 3rd grade, I fucking stole the ball from the greatest player in my school. All right,
Really?
I stole the ball and I fucking made a shot.
Really?
That was the only time I was ever good at basketball. That one game. But
That's
continue.
That's something. Yeah, so I learned how to love myself. I really learned that. And I also learned self-worth. I'll tell you guys a story. So we were doing runs recently, and one of the other players, the whole game, he was on my ass. The whole game. He was riding me. He would not leave me alone, saying, he's on my team too. Don't drive. You better pass. Don't drive. You better pass. So next scrimmage run, I said, all right. I requested to play on the other team. So the whole game I was lighting them up, and every single time I said, "Don't drive," and that was my move. Don't drive, and they were. So I wasn't making everything, and here we are. Game's tied up. It was one of those 16 runs. So it was a very competitive game. These guys want to win. Some people take it a little too far. I want to win just as much as everyone else, though. Probably a lot more. I'm hungry, and it's just me and that guy, and they doubled me because I have a clutch factor. I'm really good for threes to end the game. So I was being doubled, and that guy was the main guy. And I put the hand in his face. I just went right in, and I said to myself, "That is why I love myself, because I bet on myself." So, loving yourself enough to bet on yourself is also important too.
What's betting on yourself mean to you, though?
Betting on yourself is if someone's gonna offer you something right now in the beginning. I don't know. Say someone offers you a $5 million deal, because that's all they're allowed to give you, or your worth's going to be, a $15 million deal the next year. You could take that $5 million if you want to play it safe, or bet on yourself. Bet on yourself. You need to bet on yourself.
Confidence,
I love
right
betting
there.
on yourself. And if
Betting on yourself is
and
confidence.
here's one thing. I started with nothing, so I'm afraid. I'm not afraid to go back to that. I mean, I for my family's sake, I started with nothing. So betting on myself, what am I going to lose? What really? I'm up. There's nothing. If you bring, you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying here? Mm-hmm. So every day I'm betting on myself.
Yeah, you know what I like that the concept of this conversation is, first of all, I always tell everybody your potential is your worth, so you got to utilize that full potential to get what you're worth. But you have to understand what that full potential is, right? Which is ultimately, when you understand that the potential, that means you have confidence, because the definition of confidence is a self-assurance and appreciation of one's own abilities and or qualities. So you knowing your own abilities and your qualities, enabling yourself to go out there and fully utilize your abilities and enhance those qualities to get what you want. I think that's a huge portion of it. Now here's a little twist. The definition of self-love to me, and I know I keep bringing up Will Smith, bro, but he speaks so much truth. Let me tell you. He says the definition of self-love is self-discipline. If you truly love yourself, you're going to stay disciplined to do whatever it takes to get the life that you want. Here's my twist on it. All right. Yes, if you truly love yourself, you're going to stay disciplined to do whatever it takes to get the life that you want. But if you don't stay disciplined to do whatever it takes to get the life that you want, do you really love yourself?
I hear what you're saying. I mean, I'm not saying by that I mean stay inside, or just keep your head down and just keep working. And you also want to live too. You also want to live,
But what's living if you're not living to your full potential?
That goes to eating shit for a few years, and then that's a different conversation. And that is a conversation that works. I will say, just to sum that up, hard work beats talent, I guess.
100%. I mean, like you said, you have to be willing to eat that shit for a couple of years until you can actually go ahead and live, the way that you're supposed to be. That's that discipline, though. Sticking through that adversity, those challenges, obstacles, to be able to eventually get to that point. So we got somewhat deep there. Talk to me about the I know you're big into cryptocurrency and NFTs. How did that journey start?
Oh, I love art. So I said, I'm not an artist myself. So I said, I'm gonna get into these. I got into them because originally people wanted me to do the marketing for their projects because I have a marketing agency, and then they just give me NFTs because my work was outstanding. And I said, okay, I'm gonna hold on to these NFTs. And look, some of these NFTs are worth something. What's crazy is I'll tell you the story. When I first got into NFTs, I didn't know what they were worth. So I was just
I'm still
I
trying to
was
figure it
covering
out.
for Christmas. This Christmas. I gave people NFTs. I got a personalized Steve Aoki one. I got a few, and I'm pretty sure that one's personalized. All I know is from the collection. He had something to do. I forget exactly. And I was giving out these for Christmas. And look, some of these are worth 10, 15 grand now. So and I don't
You
think the
blessing people, bro.
they
Left and
didn't.
right.
I didn't know though, and I don't think they were worth that then. So I guess that goes to
It's only been 3 months.
well, it was before I was getting them before mints.
Okay.
So I was getting them, early, and I guess I didn't realize because I had no idea. I really had no idea. And then now I've got no one gets any NFTs.
So who was the first person to bring NFTs to in the game? For
Gary
you?
V.
Gary V.
Gary V.
You guys buddies?
I mean, we speak. I wouldn't call them buddies. We had that conversation earlier. There's a difference between someone being my buddy and someone being my best friend or. So I would say, hey, how you doing, Gary? Hope all is well, bro. I remember last time I spoke to him was about Hot Wheels. I saw this big ass Hot Wheels collection. All right, and I really probably should have bought it because that thing probably was worth 5 to 10 grand, and it was probably only cost me, I think, $100. I just didn't want to carry it. It takes a different kind of hustling to do that because you got to understand it's not just selling it. You have to list them all.
Yeah.
I'm not about that. I am not that guy. Maybe
Well,
there is that guy out there. That's not me.
That's where you build a team to do that for you.
You're right. I could build a team to do that for me. At the end of the day, you know what I did that day?
What's that?
I sat out by the pool. I had a nice can of Coke.
And that's a 20-year-old
really
for
cold
you.
one.
I'm messing.
It was a nice one. My aunt's puppy was there, and I think I had a barbecue. That's what I did.
I mean, hey, bro, you gotta have those, experiences in life, just relax and whatnot. I get that whole portion. Okay, but what about NFTs stuck out to you besides the money?
Monkeys and polar bears are my favorite animals, and I saw there was animal ones. I said, okay,
I know monkeys are a big thing in NFTs.
They are. Everyone tries to copy it, so you don't even know which monkey to buy now.
Okay, so right now,
this ape, that ape.
If you were talking to somebody who's looking to get into NFTs,
I'd say find a small project that you see, a small mint price, maybe 0.4 ETH. We're talking. I don't know what ETH is at today. I should know. I was early in ETH. I wasn't too early in ETH. I was semi, I guess. I would say find a project that's worth around $400 or $500. Get into it. And what's really sad to me is these rug pulls. You just don't know. You just don't know. It's crazy because I own a marketing business. They hired me to promote one. And it's not really my fault. I didn't know, how am I supposed to know this is a rug pull? I do my due diligence. There's only so much you can do. That's the same concept of, painting someone's house. If you're a painter, that's a bad, you don't know. You really don't know. And unfortunately, people were not happy about that. That my marketing agency was the one that helped promote it, and it wasn't just mine. There was a bunch, so it's fine. It wasn't one of those $1 million rug pulls at all. And I wasn't the one who actually promoted it, so I'm good. It was because all the marketing agencies have different methods of growing. It was just growth campaigns and things such as that. So fortunately, I personally didn't put my name on anything. That one's dead. I hate the rug pulls. It's rough. It really is rough.
So do you think that NFTs and, let's say, for example, just cryptocurrency in general is the way of the future for currency?
Yeah, definitely is. I'm getting a little bit out of NFTs right now and just gonna move more into just simply crypto and keeping some money in there. And I'll keep the NFTs I have. I'll still do NFT marketing. That's not changing. I'm not buying any NFTs. The market's all over the place right now. I'm going to see what's going on. As for the future, I do think it is the future. I think that, we all know what cryptocurrency could be used for It could be used for good. It could be used for bad. You know what I mean?
Silk Road, where I started
want
off
it, and
in,
I'm one of the only people that want to say this. I want to see it a little more regulated, and I'll tell you why I want to see it regulated. I want there to be a support.
Hold up. You want to? All right. So this is the first person.
Nah, I'm gonna explain this.
You are the first person that I've ever heard saying that they want cryptocurrency to be regulated.
I don't want all cryptocurrency. No.
Okay.
I want just ETH, because I think when you're attaching it to these NFTs, there needs to be some sort of a support line. There needs to be something, because
elaborate on the support line.
You can't call up Ethereum and say, "Damn, I sent it to the wrong address."
Mm-hmm.
I don't love that. You know how many times people have sent me money on this one to that one that couldn't get sent because this blockchain didn't transfer. I can't.
You want that customer service line being like, "Hey, I sent this to the wrong person."
So I'm saying that's the only thing I'm asking for.
Okay.
It's just that to be slightly the business transaction of it, and it's stealing what these people do with these NFTs that accidentally sell them for lower price. That's stealing. Someone has a $250,000 NFT and you sell it for $2.50 or $2,500 or even $25,000. That's not right. You're just stealing something. You're stealing a home from someone. That's $250,000. Now you're stealing a home from somebody. So I'm not. That's the only thing I look for. When I say regulated, I don't mean that kind of.
You want it to be monitored.
Monitored. Maybe that's a better word.
That's a better word for it.
Monitored, and some things got to change, because it's just a free for all right now. Something's got to change.
I think that's honestly the way of the future too, though, because at the end of the day, I feel like a lot of people are realizing, hey, you know what? I can go, without having to go for a 3-day period when I do a wire transfer or whatnot.
I love that. I really love that. And that's why I really only accept Ethereum right now. Ethereum.
So for your business, you take cryptocurrency?
I take only Ethereum.
Only Ethereum. You don't even take the US dollar?
I can take. I really hate it. I really hate it. Not that I hate the US dollar. I just hate taking it. So right now, I only take Ethereum. I don't want to pull up with a bunch of money bags, $100 bills. I want to pull up with. Let's see my.
I don't mind. I don't mind a bunch of $100 bills, bro.
I don't mind it.
I'm in business. I got 5 businesses, bro. I still love the $100 bill.
No, I still love it. I just would love to take Ethereum for right now.
Okay. So if somebody came to you and said, "Hey, you know what? I got $100,000 blow up my business for the marketing portion," you need to take it.
I would take it. If you're saying if it was cash, would I take it?
Yeah.
Oh, I would take it.
And then you would dump it in.
I would do that. I would highly request. I would say highly. I would even probably take a little bit less if they could just handle that for me and send it in Ethereum.
So what's been the biggest cryptocurrency win that you've had?
I mean, I regret not getting in Bitcoin. Really, I mean, $2,000 or something crazy.
I got in less.
What'd you get in it?
So, first of all, I was still a shithead when I heard about Bitcoin and stuff like that. Once again, I still had the long hair, pierced nose, baggy clothes, skater, snowboard kid at that point. I was using it for the Silk Road. Okay. So I got into it when it was like real brand new, like fresh in the scene. Now I'm like 7 years clean, and I re got into it, if you want to call it that. When it was too late.
Yeah. I would say the biggest one was, I've had some ups with ETH actually. When ETH goes down, I mean, you can make double your money. When that thing goes down to 2,500, what is it up at? What is it up right now?
I had good luck with Dogecoin.
Really? I didn't get in. I didn't want to.
Somebody told me about it prior to the whole boom, and I had some good wins with that. 2,500.
Oh, it's only at 2,500 right now. Wow,
that's still pretty good.
Yeah, I gotta check my ETH wallet. I gotta see what's going on there. I sometimes when I'm on vacation right now in Florida, so I didn't check anything. Yeah. So
do you think that ultimately that's going to enhance your business, only taking Bitcoin?
I think that's a part of the future.
Crypto.
This is something really interesting about me. I only use Apple Pay.
You only use Apple Pay.
I want to be a part of the future, and I only use Apple Pay. So if you,
I think that's a huge thing though too. Like
I'll carry a backup cash, just in case. Mainly only take Apple Pay.
You know what I think is a huge benefit to the whole cryptocurrency market, especially for business owners. Like for example, me, I have Stripe processing, right?
Okay, yeah.
For any time I have a transaction with a client. Now there's a 4% processing fee.
I make them pay that.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
But still, like sometimes like it's always fluctuating their processing fee, right? So like sometimes it's like 3.7, sometimes 3.9, sometimes 4.2.
The
Like
point two really affects you, you think?
it's always changing. No, it doesn't affect me, but here's what I realized. I'll charge the amount for the service, and then I'll also go ahead and add on that processing fee because it's always fluctuating. I never know. I never really know what it's at, right? So I'll go ahead and charge it, and then all of a sudden, when it actually hits my account, I see that like I'm down like an extra $200. I'm like, wait, what's going on? It's always that processing fee. With crypto, it's not like that. You have a cryptocurrency
There's
wallet.
gas fees though. Yeah, the gas fees are rough. You'd be surprised.
All right.
Gas fees are not fun. I probably spent this year alone, just so far this year, just 10,000 in gas fees, sending out these NFTs.
I mean, yeah,
No, definitely a lot more in gas. What am I saying?
there's
Probably.
ups and downs, right? You know,
Yeah.
there's pros and cons to
Yeah.
everything, right? Whether
Yeah.
it's U.S. dollar or also.
It goes back to nothing is free.
There you go.
That sums it up. That really just sums up this whole thing. Nothing is free. That should be the title of this. Nothing is free.
Nothing is free. You guys heard it here. So JJ, talk to me. What's next for you? You know, you've been on tour. You've gone through relationships. You have the relationship with the NBA. You know,
My relationship with the NBA is one of my favorites I've had in my life, and I'm ready to. I still play basketball. You know, I have my fun with that. I'm gonna play my whole life. I'm trying to play at a high level.
So you trying to go pro?
You know, I would love to see a G League tryout. I really would. And a lot of my friends laugh. I mean, it's serious. I really think, you know, I work. I'm at the gym 340 out of 365 days a year. So I work, and I would love for that. What's next for me would be continue building my relationship with God, my family, take care of my family. I'm trying to get my mom a house. You know, there's different things that I'm working on right now. Continue my relationship with my girlfriend, my life, and see what the next chapter takes. I'm not really sure what the next chapter is going to be right now. I live in New York. That's the place that I love more than anything in the world. And right now, that is the only thing that only place that I intend on living. And there are some, you know, it always crosses my mind. So we'll see.
So at 20 years old, you're here on this podcast. You know, you basically, you know, hit a certain point that, you know, most people haven't even hit in their life, right? At 20 years old. So we're gonna do part 2, right, of this podcast. And I'm gonna give it maybe a year, 2 years. We're gonna touch base. We're gonna see where you're at that point, bro. Because at 20 years old, I gotta, you know, give it up to you, like straight up, bro.
You're a real one.
Proud of you. Like keep crushing
answer your
it.
question. You're one of my brothers, bro. Don't worry.
I appreciate it, brother.
Don't worry about it.
But you know, that's not the only thing that we're gonna do. We're gonna do a couple other things. We're gonna talk after this podcast, and you know, we're gonna see how we can both grow together. And
I'm here.
Just wait, guys. You know, you're gonna see him in 2 years. Let's see where JJ Hannon's at. So JJ, I appreciate you joining us, bro. Honestly, it's been a pleasure. I appreciate all the knowledge and insight that you have at this young age, and I can't wait for part 2.
Appreciate you.
Ladies and gentlemen, there you have it.